Guys, we got Jaylin James, influencer extraordinaire. Thanks for coming on, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's just get right into it.
Sure.
You have a lot of content out there, but I don't know that there's a lot of content about who you are from early on to the man you are now. Mm-hmm. You want to tell us a little bit about where you come from, who you come from?
For sure. Yeah, so like Matt said, I'm Jaylin. So I originally grew up in Des Moines, Iowa. For those of you that don't know where Iowa is, it's right in the middle of the United States, basically. I grew up playing sports my whole life. Parents are still together to this day. Raised in a great family. And then I graduated high school 2015. Got a full ride offer to play football at the University of Northern Iowa. Absolutely dream come true. My parents always told me I had to go to college, but the only way I could go was if it was paid for. So me and my brother both achieved that by getting full ride scholarships to UNI. Blessing. Absolutely loved it. I redshirted my first year at UNI, so I didn't play, but I put on about anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. You would have been proud of me for sure.
What did you weigh when you came on?
Dude, so I got to UNI. I was like 6'3", 170.
Okay.
Maybe 175. And they actually, crazy enough, they were thinking about playing me my first year. Just because receiver, wide receiver. And it was just because I was still like, my athletic ability kind of outweighed my measurements.
Okay.
Like the fact that I was so skinny. But they made a smart decision and redshirted me. I'm glad they did. And like I said, put on about 15 to 20 pounds of muscle within my first year there to my following season. And then I started for 4 years straight. And a lot of people don't know that about me, but before I started any social media, I actually played college football. And that's something that I like kind of pat myself on the back on sometimes because I see all these other guys achieving their dreams of getting drafted and stuff. And I always dreamed of that day. I actually, after I graduated, tried to do the whole NFL process, but COVID hit in 2020. I graduated December of 2019. So kind of derailed basically my whole opportunity of the NFL. Luckily enough, I trained for a whole nother year. And even though I balled out the following year at Pro Day, I didn't even get an opportunity. So it wasn't like a wasted year of training or anything, but wishing that something would have happened for sure.
Sure.
Like a workout with a team or something. But
didn't you get an offer to play like European football or something?
I could have, yeah. So I had an agent. She was doing great things for me, but I couldn't get any NFL like workouts or opportunities. But she told me I could have played XFL or CFL, and I was just like, you know what, bro? Like all or nothing. Like I'm playing in the NFL or I'm not at all. So
right.
Because I wasn't going to go play, in a different country and then not end up making it to the NFL and wasting, a couple years of my life just making barely enough money to play football. So wasn't worth it to me. And then so it's crazy. It's crazy how all this happened. Right in that middle ground between when I graduated and when I was training for the following Pro Day. So I graduated December of 2019. From January until March, I was still living in Cedar Falls, Iowa, which is where my college is. And I was just training. That's all I was doing for like 3 months. I would Uber on the weekends to like try and make money because my money during the time was from, like when I was in school, was from my scholarship. Like we'd get, basically a Pell Grant every month. And that was the money I lived off of. Well, I had already graduated, so I wasn't making any more money. And so I Ubered on the weekends and was just training for football. I did that for like 3 months. And then COVID hit. I moved back to Des Moines. I didn't want to live with my parents because I didn't want to bother them.
Sure.
Like, fair enough. Like, I lived with them for 18 years.
Right.
I'm not going to take any more of your guys' time and money. So I lived and moved in with my aunt and just trained for like, I think it was until late July, early August. And then eventually it hit me and I was like, man, I got to get a job. Like I can't just do that. Like I can't just wake up and train twice a day and expect like, something to happen.
Right.
And what's so awesome too is during this time I got baptized. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's kind of part of the journey.
Right on.
I'll tell my testimony later when we talk about that. But basically, I got baptized, moved to Kansas City, and did medical sales. Well, as soon as I was picking up to leave for Kansas City, I posted a TikTok, and I used to do TikTok because it was fun. My little sister at the time, like, absolutely loved it. It was 2020. Like, everyone loved TikTok at the time.
So your little sister got you into TikTok.
Yeah.
That's
like,
where it started.
all the little trendy dances and stuff. Like, she loved that stuff. And so I've always known how to dance. And so I was like, all right, cool. I'll do a couple with you. And it's crazy. My first viral TikTok wasn't even a dance. It was like an introduction to the platform itself. Like, this is my name. This is where I'm from.
Okay.
And it was just like a couple pictures. And apparently, like, all the ladies loved it or something.
Is that still on here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like one of the first posts ever on my account. While he's looking for that, I'll explain kind of what happened after that. But posted that TikTok, moved to Kansas City, started medical sales. And then when I first went viral on that first video, I was like, all right, I'm just going to, like, run with this. Like, you never know what could happen. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
I posted it. It got a bunch of views, likes, and all that. And I was like, dude, like, why wouldn't I just keep doing this? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I did it for a couple months, and it just, dude, took off. Like, I was not expecting it at all. And it was so awesome, too, because, and this is kind of part of my testimony, but I posted that video and went and got baptized.
Same day?
Came home, didn't check my phone the whole night because, like, it's TikTok. Like, at the time, I was only using it for entertainment. And so,
Sure.
like, I didn't check it or anything, and went to sleep, woke up the next morning, looked at TikTok, and it was viral. I was like, wait, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, only God. And so since then, dude, it's just been kind of a crazy ride. I lived in a content house for a year.
Where was that at?
In Miami, and it was wild.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Miami's cool. Definitely not a place to live. I think it's a great place to vacation, not a great place to live.
Okay.
But
how'd you get along with the guys? Was it all guys in the house, or was it guys and girls?
so it was originally supposed to be 4 guys, 4 girls. 2 of the girls moved out, and then one of the other guys left too. So we were left with only 5 people. It was supposed to be 8.
Did you know any of them before?
No.
Did they have the same values as you?
No.
Not at
even
all?
Close. Not even close.
Kind of figured.
We had a gym in our garage there.
Okay.
And I was probably the only one that used it for like
Really?
a whole year.
No kidding.
It was bad, dude.
I thought influencers were supposed to be in shape.
Oh, man. Depends on what you do.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that, and oh yeah, this is the first
That's
one.
it? Damn,
this
look
is
at
it
that
right
beard.
here, dude. Crazy that this is what started it all.
Dude.
I'm a true light skin. Look at that. And so this would have been, what day did I post this? October 16th. Okay, so it wasn't the day or the day that I posted it. I always get that confused. So it would have been a month later or 2 months later that this went viral.
Okay.
So I was just getting ready to move to Kansas City, and I moved. I want to say I moved. Go back down a little bit. I moved to Kansas City like right around October then. So right after that video I posted was when I moved to Kansas City.
Okay.
And it went viral. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And I had been praying to God too, like, you know, if Kansas City is where you want me, like, tell me. And I posted it and went viral. So
for other people who want to be an influencer, is there a trick to it, or is it just be a well-spoken, light-skinned, 6'3" black guy? Is that what it requires?
No, dude. You know, I always tell people, because, like, especially back in 2020, 2021, people are always like, oh, I want to be an influencer. And it's like, cool. What's your niche? And, like what's unique about you? And in the same breath, too, it'd be like, just post. That's what people used to say all the time. Like, hey, you want to be an influencer? Just post.
Yeah.
And we'd always tell people, just post whatever you want. Like, you never know what could happen. And it's kind of true to that point. Like, if you have a niche, if you have something you're interested in, post about it, because chances are there's someone out there that has the same interests as you. Now, is it as broad as, like, sports and dancing? Who knows? It could be like your niche might be you're interested in magnets.
Sure.
For all you know.
I mean,
for all
there's
we know.
pages where people just cut things in half.
Right.
Right.
And people
You never
love
know.
it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So, like, you never know what someone could be interested in.
Yeah.
And so I still kind of believe that, just post. But now it's just a matter of like strategically posting and figuring out, you know, what analytics you need to look at and so on and so forth. Yeah, so like this video, for example. It's kind of convenient that I ran into Sketch too. That helps. So what do you think the hardest sport in the world is?
I mean, of course, I think bodybuilding is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it doesn't ever turn off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
However, rugby is insane.
Rugby's wild.
I think that probably is just a step over football. Yeah, the guys that play rugby there's something different. You know what I mean? And I mean, there was a point in my life where I thought, man, that would be cool
to play rugby.
But yeah, I mean, that just means your testosterone's through the roof and you enjoy pain, in my opinion. So those guys are nuts. But
most definitely.
Yeah, I would probably say rugby.
But this is like that video, for example. I just recently started doing more like sports content.
Yeah, because it's evolved, right? From
Yeah.
Early on, it was just you getting on there doing whatever you want to do,
Yep.
and then it was you and your fiance, and you still do a lot of content with her,
Right.
your TikTok dances. And then now you've been interviewing for a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah.
What are all the companies you're working with?
So I'm going to make a note on kind of like my content in general, and then I'll go into like the companies. So the reason my content has shifted is because ultimately like the economy has shifted. So, and especially on TikTok, it used to be a lot about like, who are you and like, why are you an influencer?
Okay.
And that's why like collaborating was so big back then. Like influencers are trying to get together, mix up audiences, and it's just changed. Now, me and Ashley, like our relationship and why it's on social media is because that's just like who we are. Like we're cool with showing people who we are. We don't put like our, you know, our whole relationship out there, but like it's pretty obvious. Like you could come up and ask us questions and come up to us and like we're going to act basically exactly how we would on camera.
Yeah.
And then the sports stuff. Yeah. And then the sports stuff too is like, and it's kind of dope that this happened. So I signed with a new management. He was like, hey, you should like check out, like you should try and do some more sports stuff. Actually graduated with a major in journalism. That's why it's so easy for me to like go up to people with a mic and be like, hey, tell me your story.
Sure.
And I also like, that was the main reason I like journalism so much, is because everybody sees, especially in sports nowadays, everybody sees the main character. Everyone sees the LeBrons. Everyone sees the, you know, Michael Jordan. Everyone sees the celebrities, the really good sports players, but nobody gets to hear the stories from the people that are watching or played when they were younger. And so being able to tell someone's story who doesn't have the opportunity to is something that always interests me. So that's kind of the reason I like to do like the journalism sports stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, dude, it's brought me, like you said, a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different companies. Celsius, this is not sponsored by Celsius, by the way. That's actually one of the first companies I ever worked with.
Okay.
They were absolutely amazing. To this day, I wish I still worked with them, honestly. But I'm going to pull up a list just to kind of like give you guys a example of the amount of brands I've worked with. So Shop GLG, that's just a jewelry company. HBO Max, Shein, Fanatics, Ritz, Crackers, Amazon, Native, Sports Illustrated, Open Door, Domino's, Silk, Hugo Boss, Cliff Bar, YouTube, TV. The list could go on.
The Foundation.
Yeah, the Foundation. Prime.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Now you were just at the draft, right? The NFL draft. Like,
yep. So that's another.
We had to reschedule this.
Yeah.
What's a lot of people may not know is that Jaylin and I, we've known each other for a few months now. We actually trained together for probably a month.
Yeah.
So I know you pretty well. I know your physical capabilities at least.
Yeah.
I know how to bury you on leg day.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I also know your heart and I know where your faith lies. And that's probably the main thing where you and I kind of vibed on. And then I got to know you a little better. And I thought, man, we need to talk about who you are. And I think let people know more than just one side of you. So this is why you're here. But yeah, continue, man.
Yeah, dude. So, and the other thing too about the draft. So it's crazy that he was just mentioning that, but we were supposed to film this last week on Wednesday, I believe.
Correct.
And I told him, I was like, okay, well, I've got a brand deal. I don't know when I'm leaving yet, but we should be able to do it. And then they hit me up and they were like, hey, we need you out there Wednesday. And I was like, fuck, I guess I can't do the podcast. And lucky enough, we got to reschedule this weekend, but or this week. But it was with 5 Hour Energy. That was another brand. And then Pure Michigan, which is like, I think we have a Pure KC, actually. I looked it up. And it's basically like trying to get people to come to the city.
Sure.
So there was.
I saw you at the game, too, and they had you on the Jumbotron.
Yeah. Did you see that? The
I
Tigers
saw that,
game?
yeah.
Ashley was like, well, it was crazy, too, because we had just bought like Polish sausages. Yeah, like hot dogs. And I seen a guy on the field with a camera, and I was like, that thing's pointed right at me. I know it is. And he like peeked outside of the like outside of the lens and looked at me and like shook his head, and I was like, all right, well, here we go. And I just took a massive bite out of this Polish sausage. It was hilarious.
Right on. Yeah, they knew you were there.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, dude, to talk about kind of my faith and like who I am as a person, again, I guess I could share my full testimony, but I never grew up like in the church. Went to Sunday school a little bit growing up, and it was mainly just because my mom kind of said we should. And we really only went like a couple times a year. Wasn't like very consistent or anything. And then by the time I was probably like age 10, we didn't go anymore. And it was because I played baseball on the weekends. We traveled all the time. So like I had no sort of relationship with God and like nothing. And got to UNI, so this is from age 10 to I'm now 18 in college. And when they first said that they were going to play me instead of redshirt me, I was like, all right, like this is my moment. Like I've got to take advantage of this. And I'll never forget it. Probably the second week of camp, fall camp in football, I had a really, really, really good practice, like balled out, and came back into the locker room, got on my phone. That same day I posted Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I had a couple of teammates come up to me and they were like, dude, like we didn't know you were a Christian. Like you need to come to FCA, come to Bible study. I was like, all right, like maybe we'll see. I blew him off for like probably 2 months, didn't go. And then Reese, one of my best friends, he's a groomsman in our wedding. He came up to me. He was like, yo, Jay, just come. Like, you'll love it. And he's like one of the only guys I used to listen to at the time because he was cool. You know, he played wide receiver just like me, and I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. And so I went, and probably for the first like 3 times or so, I was like, like I just got to kind of listen and learn a little bit. Then the fourth time that I had went to FCA, we watched a video called Evolution vs. God. And it's by Ray Comfort. It was such a good video. It just had me fully committed. Like, I was like, okay, like, this is what living for God is kind of all about. Like, it's basically, the video is basically not disproving evolution, but basically talks about how if there's blind faith in Jesus, why is there not blind faith in evolution? Because we've never seen ever in life one species turn into another species. We've never seen, a flower turn into a human. We've never seen a monkey turn it. Like, we've never visually seen that. So the same blind faith that we have in God and Jesus is the same blind faith that scientists and evolution people believe in evolution. And so from that point, I was like, dang, why would I not believe in a creator then that made the whole universe? That makes way more sense to me. So from that point, that was like my new belief. And then from that point, I was like, all right, I'm just going to follow and see what happens. And so for the next couple of years, basically up until that time I got baptized, was just me growing, learning about God. Then I got baptized, and that was when everything kind of shifted. I moved to Kansas City, found a church, Hillsong Church, actually, downtown Plaza.
I've been there.
Yeah. Great church. I think if it wasn't for me, like, driving by that church and seeing it, I probably wouldn't have like went to church. But the only reason I had like seen it was because I had listened to a Hillsong song, and I was like, dang, I didn't know they were based in Kansas City. Well, come to find out, they're not. They're based in Australia. It's a huge, global church. Right. I didn't know that. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go. I guess that was a sign. Like, I drove by that, and God was like, hey, you need to go to church. So I went, and then from there it was like, oh, I'm on fire for God. And everything since that moment really has just been me just trying to give glory to God in everything that I do. It's tough. It's definitely tough sometimes, especially having a platform with so many people and trying to entertain people without shoving something in their face. But at the same time, I'm also at the point where it's like, I could care less what you think.
Mm-hmm.
My faith in Jesus and my belief in Yahweh and relationship in Yahweh, our God, is much stronger and more important than anything else in this world. So,
Have you had to turn down anything because it didn't align with your moral character or your values?
I don't think I've turned down anything, but I definitely think there's been some times where brands probably don't come my way because I'm so vocal about it. So, I've had with my old management, not my new management, my old management, I'm sure they've had offers, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about it a couple of times, offers from like condom companies or like, alcohol is not bad. I've done alcohol brands before, but it's just a matter of like your intent with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're like, mine was more or less about, hey, enjoy a beer while you're watching football. Like that's not horrible.
Sure.
But I'm sure I've had some companies give me the cold shoulder because of what I believe in.
Right.
Which is fine.
Well, that's a whole nother avenue to go down too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to the extreme of like OnlyFans and things of that nature. Like there's so many people that are successful influencers that could just slay it on there, yourself included, and good for you for not taking that low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's definitely. So have you heard of fanfics?
I haven't.
It's kind of like OnlyFans. They try and make it less
Sleazy?
like, yeah. And it's all the same, dude. If you're on there posting pictures of, your body or whatever, it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's prostitution in my opinion.
Totally.
So, I turned them down. They reached out to me. They were like, "Hey, you would kill it on our platform." Cool. So would a lot of other people.
Yeah.
I'd go for them.
Sure.
I could care less to come on your platform and post something that's not who I am.
Speaking of platforms, now that TikTok they were forced to be purchased by the U.S. Is that correct?
So it's officially banned.
Okay. It did get banned.
Yeah, it got banned, but it's a matter of when it goes into account. So, excuse me, I don't think it'll go into account until like it just turned May. I think it'll be next April if it happens.
What will that do? Will that mean that you're going to be more on Instagram? Is that going to push you to the other platforms?
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, what will happen, and before I like say that it's just gonna vanish, I don't think that'll happen. I think someone will buy it out, and it'll be a U.S. company. If not, if it does get fully banned, cool. I guess I just I go to Instagram or
at times things change.
Yeah, and companies will spend way more money on Instagram or Facebook or whatever else is available. If something goes away, but that's the thing though. I don't think it'll happen because there is so much money on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like if they want to deny it, cool. But like ultimately they know that a lot of money runs through there. A lot. So I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, yeah. And a lot of people have asked me too. They're like, dude, like you do TikTok for a living. Like, how do you feel? And it just goes back to like my foundation. Cool. I've got faith in God, bro. Like whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I don't think TikTok getting banned is going to be like, the end all be all for me. Like God will give me a different opportunity somewhere else.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about like, because you're doing a lot of journalistic kind of interviews now, like on site at the games and things like that. I think, from my perspective, if you're a friend, I'm like, man, that looks like it fits you really well.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing too about like when I was in college, I wanted to play in the NFL, retire, and do sports broadcasting / sports journalism. That was like one of my dreams. And again, this is like all God. Look at what I get to do now. Like I get to do that free roaming, like without a boss or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's awesome that I get to do that. I think if the time was right and that was what God wanted me to do, I think it'd be sick to do it. Obviously the money wouldn't be as good, but unless I like started my own,
there you go.
Now we're thinking big. Or Barstool Sports. Now we're thinking big. Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, no, and the thing about you is too, I think some people will claim their faith because they want to lean into that crowd and be accepted by that crowd. They're not as active actually in it.
Right.
But I mean, that's what I've seen with you. Like you live the life. most people won't know unless they're part of the group, but Bibles and Barbells,
Yeah.
you hosted that
Yeah.
last month, which was great.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. How does that play out in your relationship with your Ashley, your fiance?
Yeah. Dude, I tell Ashley all the time, and I try to start telling people more often. But she's my answered prayer, dude. Like, I was that typical like football guy in college, like hooking up with girls. I was not a good guy, not a good man for sure. And when I moved to Kansas City, was kind of still messing around a bit until I got really involved with the church. And I was like, man, like, I feel like because I'm one of those people, I've got to be around people like all the time. I need to like, like if I'm staying in a house by myself, like I'm going to go crazy because I need friends around me like all the time. Not just because I'll do stupid stuff, but because like it's entertaining to me.
Sure.
And
well, you're really social.
Yeah.
You're definitely more of an extrovert.
Yeah. I'm very extroverted, just very outgoing, very social. So I like to be around people all the time.
Sure.
And so I had been praying, like, God, I feel like I need a partner. And I met Ashley on TikTok Live, actually. Crazy enough. Yeah. So if you guys are familiar with the website called Omegle, it's like, have you heard of that before? It's like a random video chatting. So like you could literally pull up Omegle.
Is it spelled with an E?
No, Omegle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you could pull that up and hit like start chatting, and it would pull you up with someone random across the world.
Oh, wow.
Anyone. Now, Ashley had a little bit of a leeway because what I would do is I'd go live on TikTok and Omegle. So I'd go on TikTok and on Omegle, the keyword, I would put my name. And so if I wanted to chat with my supporters, that was why I did it. And so if any of my supporters were in the live, they could just type in Jaylin James and they'd get a chance of like chatting with me. Well, Ashley did that because her sisters were on her like, hey, like this guy lives in Kansas City. He does medical sales too. Like you guys both do medical sales. And she was like, no, I'm good. And then I guess she must have just gave in that night. And she ended up chatting with me. And from that point on, the rest was really history. And so, and what's cool too is like, at first we were honestly just friends. Like we were both living in Kansas City, both in medical sales. And then she came to church, and that was when everything kind of changed. When I seen her get baptized, because she came to our church for probably like a month or two, and then...
And this is Iowa or Kansas City?
No, in Kansas City,
okay.
yeah, at Hillsong.
Okay.
And then once I seen her get baptized, I was like, I think I'm in love. Like, she literally just kind of gave everything to God, and I was like, man, that's the first time I've ever seen someone so in love with God that it's like making me appreciate them more.
So she had her faith prior to you guys meeting?
She did, yes.
Okay.
So she actually grew up Catholic, moved to Kansas City, and then kind of became a Christian on her own, went to Life Church over in Olathe, I think is where it is.
Yeah, I go to Life Church.
Yeah. She loved it. Yeah.
He's a stud, dude.
And she loved it. And then she met me, and I was like, hey, you should come to my church. Like, it's awesome. I love it. And like I said, she went for probably like 2 months and then got baptized. And that's when I was like, dang.
Dude, that's awesome. Like the way to base the initial relationship on faith is it's not as common anymore. Honestly, like, I'm single again, and it's just like dating. It's like, man, where are these girls that are like traditional? They are conservative to a degree with what they put out there. They're looking for reciprocal support. It's just like there's a lot of, you get probably way more than the average, but there's so many girls out there that just want to throw everything in your face, and it's like, it's like just
have some values.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's to the point where that's where I think it's trended so hard towards that's accepted, and that's what they all think they need to do now. Where it's like, it really takes a while to sort out.
Yeah.
The girls who are pursuing everybody, and the girls that are pursuing Christ and looking for a man of Christ to build a life with.
Yeah.
That's become a unicorn for me anymore. And I've met a lot of people, and they're nice, but I'm like, man, that's just not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that you guys built your relationship starting there. That's what I would like to do as well. I think it's a great example. And it's obvious. How long you guys been together?
We're going on like 4 years.
Yeah. And your wedding is?
June 29th.
Right on. This is going to be a blast.
Bro, soon.
I'm going to be there.
Yeah, you are.
Be looking good.
Let's go. I can't wait, bro. All this planning and stuff, it's stressful, but like at the end of the day, dude, come that day, it's going to be fun. Our bachelor, like, we're going on a bachelor and bachelorette trip, not together, but it's on the same weekend. She's going to Nashville, I'm going to Dallas, and it's next weekend.
Cool.
So
that'll be a good time.
It'll be the prep party.
The prep party? Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I know you said your wedding has been a lot of work to get ready, but.
Yeah. But, dude, honestly, I kind of want to touch on that too, though. You're so right. Like, it's so hard to find, and I'm so blessed that, me and Ashley are together right now. But I couldn't imagine as a guy right now trying to find a girl who's in the church, like conservative, doesn't throw everything out there, like you said.
Yeah.
Man, our world has shifted and changed so much.
It really has. So
much. I always tell people, especially guys like my age or around my age, they're like, dude, how do you find a good girl? Like, when it's like, first of all, take a look in the mirror. Are you doing the right things? And then second of all, dude, just go to church. Like, go to a church for like a solid 3 to 4 months consistently every Sunday. Like, put everything else aside. Like, I think I know I think it was 2021. 2021. I didn't miss a single Sunday service unless I was in Des Moines, like my hometown. And even then, I would make sure I sat down at 11 a.m. and watched online. Right. And so I think I was almost in person for every service for a whole year. And from that point on, it was like everything changed. And that was right around the same time Ashley and I started dating. And it's just like, dude, if your priorities are straight and like Christ is at the top of your priorities and you're in church consistently, I believe he'll give you someone if that's what you're looking for and if he thinks that's what you need. So, but I agree, dude. I think it's probably very, very hard to find. And I'm blessed. I'll say that. Ashley's a 10. For sure she's a 10. Personality and looks. But a lot of times I feel like what happens with guys is we get so sidetracked by what our eyes love so much that we're like, if she's not a 10, I can't do it.
Right.
But what if she's an 8 and her personality is everything you've been looking for?
Sure.
She's still beautiful, right? She's an 8. She's not a 10, but she's still beautiful.
Yep.
You got to look at it from God's point of view. I mean, he created her in his image. She's beautiful to him. So, like, sometimes you got to be able to, quote, unquote, settle and just know that, like, dude, what is on the inside of this woman is so much better than what's on the outside.
Sure. No, I agree. Well, all that's temporary, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that there's women out there that, and it's in the eye of the beholder. What you consider a 10, I might not, and what I consider a 10, you might not. But I think there's girls out there that are 10s that are, morally on the same page as me, and they haven't, their body counts either 0 or not through the roof.
Right.
I mean, they do exist. I think it just takes some time and patience. I think in the right season, God will bring that into your life. But I also think it's really easy to get lost in the looks, and if that's all you're going for, unfortunately, those girls have so much attention. Yeah. Whether it's quality attention or not, they still have a lot. So how do you break through that? And then, how do you keep their attention? And, is there loyalty there? And, that's at the end of the day, that's really what a relationship comes down to, is loyalty and trust. Right. If you don't have it, you don't have a relationship. Right.
And that's another thing about Ashley and I's relationship. Another reason I appreciate her so much. Like, it's kind of flipped. I'm the one that kind of gets, and actually she gets a lot of attention now too, though. But I mean, for 4 years, I've gotten all this attention from social media. She doesn't bat an eye, dude. Yeah. She trusts the shit out of me. Sure. And it makes me appreciate her so much more for that. And like, am I perfect? No. Like, there's people that'll come up to me and say stuff, and I'm like, oh, thank you. And sometimes I'm like, man, I should have just walked away. But at the same time, I'm appreciative. Yeah. So I'm far from perfect, but you know, she is just so down to earth and loving that, you know, even all the attention I get, she knows I'm hers and she's mine.
Yeah, I think that comes down to the relationship, you know, knowing this, that you guys got each other's back and there's no question about it. Having good communication.
Right.
Like for me, I struggle a little bit because I'm so busy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, that making sure the communication stays on high is a task.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're daily working on things together like you guys are, I think it helps. I've had that in the past too, and I think that works well for some couples.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's cool. I'm glad. I think you guys are a great couple, and you're a great example.
Yeah.
You know, to go against what the current narrative is, where these girls, they don't need a guy. You know, it's all about what can you give me, this, that, and the other. Dude, and so 2 days ago, this is probably TMI, but
Who cares? We're just two dudes talking.
There you go. 2 days ago, I get this DM from this girl, and she's smoking hot.
Yeah.
And I chatted her up a little bit, and I was like, and then she just sends me the video. It's like, dude, well, I know exactly what you look like, front, back, and in between. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, hey, I was like, what are you looking for exactly? Because I don't know if you know who I am. And she's like, oh well, I've been married I'm married and I have a 7-year-old.
Oh my god.
I'm like, so does that you have an open relationship or what do you got? No, I'm just naughty.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I don't think you know who I am, what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
She's like, well, it's no strings attached. I was like, you know, if I wanted that, this girl lived in Vegas.
Right.
I was like, I got that here if I want that.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
I have that
flying
option.
to Vegas for that. Yeah.
And she's just like, oh, we can. I was like, you know what? 99% of guys would be into it.
Yep.
Now you are attractive. However, that's not the way I roll. That's not the man I want to be. I got to deny that part of me that wants to lean into it and say, hey, remember who you are. Remember what you preach. Remember the life you tell others to live and live the same life. So just the point of it is I think there's a lot of opportunity for sin.
Yeah.
Way more opportunity for sin, and it throws itself at you. And, you know, the looks thing is so easy to get caught up in. And even myself, I got to tell myself, like, look past that a little bit. Over time, that'll work itself out. But I think it is difficult for guys. I'm sure every generation thinks it's hard, you know, throughout history. But now there's just so much technology and so many ways to get at people, and there's such short attention spans that I think having a relationship like you have that's so solid is critical for success. Otherwise, there's going to be somebody else when you're busy telling that person how great they are. So while I think it's more difficult to date right here and now, it doesn't mean it's impossible. And I think the right relationship will be phenomenal once you get it figured out. So
yeah.
And
it's all about where your foundation is. The foundation.
100%.
You know, if like it says in the Bible, you know, if it's built on sand, as soon as something hits it, rain, whatever it may be, a storm, that thing's sinking, bro. But if it's built on a rock, if it's built on Jesus,
100%.
it's firm.
100%.
It's not going nowhere.
No, and to be honest with you, like after I shut it down, hours, I was like, "Good job, dude."
Yeah, you
that's
give
what's
yourself
up.
a little pat on
I'm
the
like,
back.
that's what's
Hell
up.
yeah.
Good for you,
Shit, bro. And here's the other thing: that shit's not easy. A lot of people are gonna sit there and be like, you know, if you really love God, like you can easily turn away from that, dude. That flesh that you have, it wants some things, bro.
Yeah.
And at times, it's hard to give it, you know, not give it what it wants. And I love Paul writes it in one of his letters. Talks about how he can't wait for the day that his spirit ascends to heaven because he can finally pull away from the flesh. Because he talks about how I do what I don't want to do and I don't do what I know I should do. And it sucks. And it's because our flesh wants these things and our spirit knows that's not what we need or what we want. And the day that we can finally detach from that is the day where we're like, oh, freedom at last. Like, I don't need my flesh anymore. I can just rely on my spirit. I can do exactly what I know I'm supposed to do and not do what I'm not supposed to do.
Absolutely. My prayer every morning, it always closes with, let your will become my will. How nice would that be?
Yeah.
If the Lord's will was actually what we wanted to.
Every day.
Because, you know, that's what's best, right? Of course. It's easier said than done, but I'm like, just make that my will too. So we'll be all good.
Yeah.
I won't have to battle against all this stuff. But for me, honestly, I stay so busy. Like, the relationship thing is easy to not have to worry about. But at some point, you know, I got to address it too.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, it's awesome, dude. Keep doing your thing. I'm excited for both of you guys. It's a good union and set a great example. We need more of it. We need more alpha men that are masculine but traditional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
There's just so much going on that's debates God, and everybody's wanting to say how it's the faith isn't really. There's no point in it, right? Why would God let these bad things happen?
Right.
Well, there's reasons for it. Character building. You know, you don't know what you don't know, but it's great to have guys like you that show out their faith rather than hiding it.
For sure. It's, and again, all glory to God, dude. Like, I wouldn't have this platform if it wasn't for him. I 100% believe that. It's actually, and that's another part of my testimony. I didn't even share that. One of the main reasons I wanted to play in the NFL back when I was immature and had nothing better to think about was because I wanted to be like famous. I wanted to be I wanted to be Jaylin James, the NFL wide receiver. Like, that was what I really wanted. I loved football, and so obviously, of course, I would have loved playing, but like, that was one of my main motivations.
Got it.
Dude, I was so arrogant, so selfish, and so immature. And now, like, and it's just crazy how that was my vision. And then I give my life to God, and he's like, hold on, I've got something completely different for you.
Right.
Completely different. And who's to say, like, if I would have made it to the NFL, that I would have, like, continued to have this relationship with God. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now that I'm here, 100% it's him. Like,
I mean, I got baptized in my 20s like you as well. I think a lot of guys, especially if you're athletically blessed, you know, and a good-looking guy, like, it's very easy to be full of yourself, but you don't even know who you are at that point.
Oh, no.
It takes, you know, I was baptized as a baby.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about it, but I didn't really find my relationship with Christ until I was an adult, thinking about my own decisions. Because up until my early 20s, I don't know, I was just going with the flow. You know? I didn't know what I was doing, and I was like you, as like, thought higher of myself than I probably should have. Treated women, you know, I didn't take anything seriously.
Nope.
You know, so I think you got to grow up to be the person you're destined to be a little bit in advance before, you know, that relationship. I think the relationship comes as long as you don't shun God, as long as you're willing to consider it. So that's why, like, the Bibles and Barbells is so important, because there's guys in here and girls in the gym that stepping into a group in the gym to talk about their faith is an option, but stepping into the church right now, that's too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one reason why I really like the gyms, for that reason, is to be able to provide a segue into their faith. Because there's a lot of people that want to know more about it, but they're just not sure they want to take that big leap into a room of 500 people who they feel like they may be judged, and sometimes they may judge you. There's some issues with, you know, structured religion. I'm not religious. I'm into my faith. I'm a believer, but I'm not into religion.
Yep.
You know?
And there's a healthy balance between the two. You know, if you have religion without, you know, faith without works is dead, right?
Right.
But if you have faith without religion, then you've got a relationship, but you're not following any rules. So you got to have a healthy balance between the two. And I believe that, you know, a relationship with God is definitely high up on that list. But you've also got to have some rules, which is, to me, the word to live by.
So it's funny because we just talked about some Bibles and Barbells I hosted last week.
Yeah.
And I talked about the difference between a believer and a follower.
Yeah.
And a believer is just like, yeah, I believe, and the work's done. Whereas a follower, you have to be a believer first, then you become a follower, and then you act accordingly.
That's good, dude. I hate that I missed your message.
I'm not sure it was my best work, but it was more of a lecture than anything.
That's fine, though.
Take action.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man, that's awesome. I respect you for your faith.
Yeah.
For everything you're doing. One more question. We'll wrap this up before too long, but
I told you I could talk all day, bro.
So could I. I'm with it. I just know that people's attention spans are limited.
Yep.
So we keep these around an hour.
Okay.
But one question I want to ask you is, so if the next 5 years was a chapter in a book, what would the name of that chapter be? And what would that chapter look like, and who would be in it?
Oh, my gosh. Oh. Man, that's
if you could write it. Of course, it's not going to go according to plan, but,
yeah,
you know.
Well, I can tell you who's going to be in it. Ashley, me, God, and our family that we're probably going to start here in the next couple of years.
Okay.
I might call it Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just came to my mind. And I think I'd call it that because it's like the beginning for like our family. So we get married in June, and the next 5 years would basically be like, how's this all going to start?
Sure.
And so I think if in 5 years I was to say, all right, 5 years ago, I'm starting from that point. So June of 2029, if I was starting to write a book and it started in June of 2024, we'd start with the wedding. And so that was like the start of our family, us becoming one.
Okay.
I think I'd call it Genesis.
Okay.
The beginning.
I like it.
Yeah.
Where would you be? It starts in Kansas City, of course.
Yeah. Probably KC.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. It would start in KC, and then who knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years, dude.
Yeah. Is there anything work-wise you're pursuing that you're really hoping works, or I know you got some new opportunities you're working on right now, so maybe that's.
I think, dude, and maybe I could have touched on this earlier too, but with social media, dude, it's so much of a go with the flow type of thing. And I hate saying that because it's like, well, you've got to have some type of schedule, and it's like, actually, bro, I don't. Like whatever comes up. So like the 5 Hour Energy stuff, like I knew I was going to the draft because I had that content briefing probably 2 weeks before, 2 weeks before the draft. So I knew I was going, but like up until probably the week of, I didn't even know when I was flying out. So
yeah, you got to be ready to.
Yeah, and then they send me, 2 days before I fly out, they send me the briefing of like and schedule of like what I'm going to be doing each day. So I didn't know until I got there, or till the day before I got there, what exactly I was going to be doing.
So that could be altered a little bit if you guys start a family.
Yeah,
so that's something to consider.
Which I think, if this is what I keep doing for the next 5 years or whatever, with social media, I don't think I'm ever going to leave social media until I'm like, all right, I'm done. But I don't think that'll happen for a long time. But I think that'd be so dope to like show my family.
Yeah.
Already, me and Ashley, we already show each other the world.
Sure.
But like to start a family and like have a kid and like show our kid to the world, I think would be so sick. And show them like how we're gonna raise them, and like I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Especially like with our faith and like everything that we believe in, to show like how we're gonna raise our kid.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think people will dig it.
Yeah,
that's what's up. So I guess I should have asked you what a normal day entails. Yeah, and I know you train every day.
Yeah, right? For the most part. Yeah. So I'll give you a work day, and then I'll give you like a
off day,
kind of an off day.
Okay.
So today would be considered I would consider today a work day. Mm-hmm. Wake up really whenever. Yeah. Sometimes I try, I get in these little waves where I'm like, dude, I need to get on a consistent schedule.
Well, I know you can get up early because we've been training legs at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
for a month straight.
I can for sure, and it's just the football in me. I'm just like, all right, I gotta get up, and I will. But I've also started to realize sleep is really important. So if I don't go to bed before like midnight, if I don't go to bed before midnight, I make sure to sleep for at least like 8 hours. So I'm not getting up till 8.
Sure.
So, but this morning I woke up at 7:50, just like no alarm, nothing. Just woke up, had some coffee with Ashley. She went and worked out. Then she went to work at 10. I sent out some emails this morning. So I sat at my computer for like an hour. Then got here. We're filming the podcast. I'm going to go work out right after this.
Same.
Go home and eat lunch. What are you hitting?
Back.
I can hit back.
You want to get down?
Yeah, let's do
you
it.
And Michael?
Yeah.
All
right, bet. So I'll work out with you guys. Go home and eat some lunch because I've barely ate anything today. You're going to be mad at me for that, but it's whatever. And then I'll go home. I actually have a video I have to post. And that's another good thing, too, about now that I have a platform, I don't have to edit videos. I can, pay someone to edit my videos. And it's not like majority of my content is edited by me. It's the stuff where I like the interview videos. I don't edit those.
Okay.
I pay someone to edit those because I can't do that. They make it look way too good. So I have an interview video I'm gonna post today, and then I have a meeting with my fashion designer. I just hired a fashion designer like 2 weeks ago. He ordered some clothes for me, and it's mainly for like certain events. So like my bachelor party.
That's cool.
I wanted a sick outfit, so he hooked me up. And then I was gonna wear an outfit to the draft, like a sick one, but the clothes didn't come in time. So
maybe I should introduce you to my fashion designer.
You have one?
Yes, you're serious, bro?
It's him.
I'm wearing a foundation hat. Generally, I'm all foundation now because I don't go shopping. I just go to the closet like, I need this, that. Yeah, no, I'm just playing.
No, well, that's how, dude, and it's crazy, too, because every day, like, I will wear whatever. I don't care. Like, I'll just throw on shorts, a hat, and a hoodie or a T-shirt.
Sure.
I don't care what I look like when I go out in public, like, on a day-to-day basis. But, like, at these events.
Sure.
I'm trying to start.
I'm kind of the same.
Yeah, I'm trying to start sticking out now. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's half the reason why I started gyms.
Yeah.
I interned at a big real estate brokerage company. I had to wear a suit and tie every day. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can wear sweats if I want to.
Right.
I mean, these guys see me half the time. I'm either in my workout clothes or if I have a meeting, I'll put on the boots and a jeans and nice shirt. But
yeah,
the nice thing about running your own show that you and I both do is you can get up when you need to. Yep. You can dress how you like. However, if the job doesn't get done, it's on you. It's not on anybody else.
Yeah.
So there's a blessing and a curse. People will think like, it's going to be great to run my own show. Well, yeah, eventually it is pretty awesome. But up front, it's like, you're not going to be doing a lot of the stuff that everybody else is doing that when they have an employer and they can clock out. Because for you, you have deadlines to meet. If you procrastinate all day, deadline still has to be met.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's pros and cons to it, but it's definitely a luxury. It comes with a lot of responsibility, but I think you balance it pretty well.
Yeah.
I know there's days where you're crazy busy, and I know there's days where you're like, dude, I can work out all day if I want to. Yeah. For real. So,
and that's like what an off day to me would be like. And like I said, today was considered a work day, but like at the same time, like I've worked so hard to the point where a work day for me isn't too tough anymore, unless it's like last weekend where I'm doing 2 brand deals and like. Again, Ashley is such a huge blessing. Like she literally makes like a checklist for me. So when we were in Detroit, we got there Wednesday. I didn't have any work Wednesday. Just hung out with my boy Reese because he plays for the Lions. But Thursday through Saturday, dude, like constantly taking videos, constantly doing interviews, constantly like recording everything I do. And it's cool. Like people would probably be like, oh, that's so easy. Like I could do that. I wouldn't complain one bit. Until you actually have to learn how to do it, and you're like, "Oh, how do you make it look so good?"
Well,
it's like,
your personality works with it.
Yeah,
you being an extrovert, and you're really outgoing. I can be, but that's not my default setting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you and I have done some videos, and I'm like, I was telling these guys, like, I don't do theater. Like, I can have a straight up conversation with you all day. I love this,
right?
But I'm like, it'd be exhausting to me to do what you do. I know it is exhausting to you as well, but you're built for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's like every job though. Like it's like when people are like, "Oh, I bet I could do your job." That's like me saying, "Oh, I bet I could come weld for you." Like, yeah, I could do it, but it's not going to look good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's the same thing. And like people, you
make it look easy and that means you're good at your job.
Like it's easy for you. This is easy for me. And that's why it's my job. Yeah. Like just because you think my job's easy or my job's not hard doesn't mean that you could be good at it or do what I do. It's the same, same thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyway, so we'll work out. I'll go home, eat lunch, meet with my fashion designer. Ashley will get off. We'll have dinner together. We normally watch a movie and then go to bed, repeat it. Unless I don't have anything. Like tomorrow, I'm getting my car tinted and that's about it. So that's an off day.
Yeah. But I know also a lot of things come at you random. Like there's been 2 times we've been training and your agent would call you. Oh, it's always been good news so far.
Yeah.
You got some really sweet deals. So that's cool, man. Let us talk about your handles. Like, so how can everybody find you? I know most people know about you. You got 3 million followers plus on TikTok.
Yeah.
So tell us your handles on TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff.
So on almost every platform, you can find me at Jaylin James, Jaylin James. TikTok is 2 S's. Instagram is just 1. Dude, honestly, those are the only 2 I really use.
Okay.
YouTube, honestly, I would really like to get a following on. YouTube's hard. That's another discussion for another time.
This will be on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Well, hey, go to my YouTube at Jaylin James. I think it might be Jaylin_James.
It just blew up. You don't even know.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to post some of these clips for sure.
Right.
But that's about it for my socials. Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, dude. It's always a blessing, always amazing to get the opportunity to not just talk about who I am, but to talk about who God has made me to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the opportunities He's given me and blessings He's given me. So, all glory to Yahweh.
100%.
And yeah, dude.
Right on.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Guys, Matt Karstetter, Jaylin James, Foundation Podcast. If you're looking for a man of faith to emulate, this is definitely the guy.
Oh, stop.
Give him a follow. Everybody should be themselves, but if they want to see where your true core values lie, it's a great opportunity for them to see what a man of God is and how he behaves. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you, brother.